This week I learned sometimes you just gotta just say screw it and just read whatever you want to read. Hey, what's up, bookworms? Mike back with another weekly update as we are rolling on through the month of June here. Lots of interesting new twists have happened on the channel this week, and hey, we are here to talk about them. That begins, guys, with what am I reading? So I did finish Half the World, like I said I was going to do, and I'm not going to lie, I was on it. And here's the thing is, I really like the first book a lot, and I really got attached to that crew. And now it seems like with the second book, he's like, hey, here's two new POV characters, and they're actually the main characters. So I felt like he got me attached to those characters in book one, then they became secondary players for these two new, I'd say less interesting characters. I mean, they're still Joe Abercrombie characters, so they still have some things that you like. Look, the politicking is really good, the dialogue is always good, and I think that the fight scenes are excellent in this. It was just about 40% of the first half of this book here. I don't know if it was like my nautical thing, but it was just like, oh my god, can we get on with this? But I just found myself like kind of being like, I mean, it did have the really good ending and stuff like that, enough to where I'm going to continue the series. And I didn't dislike the book. I just thought it paled in comparison big time to book one, and I really wanted more of those characters, not more of these characters. So we'll see what happens with book three. The thing with book three is that I've heard that it introduces three new POV characters, and you follow them on that one. So I'm not really sure what he was trying to do with this trilogy, but I'm going to read it and see what I decide. However, I decided not to immediately go into it. I thought, okay, let me take a quick breather like I did between Enemy of God and Excalibur last month, because when I do these trilogies, I like to break them up in between 1 and 2 or 2 and 3, just because you tend to maybe get some burnout if you try to just burn through all three of them really fast. So I decided, hey, I'll go back to Legends of the First Empire. I've been talking about that. And guys, this is where I started to think maybe I'm about to hit a reading slump, because this is the first time I'm questioning if maybe this just isn't going to work for me. Maybe that just isn't the series for me. Look, I wanted to give Michael J. Sullivan the benefit of the doubt. I really did. I was like, okay, look, he's earned my trust enough after Ryer that I'm going to trust that he knows where he's going. I liked book one a lot. Book two I thought was pretty bad. Book three kind of put it back on the right course, and this one about halfway through it now, and I'm like, plot is just so contrived. There's just so many things where he's just like, Deus Ex Machina, why not? You know, these characters are just super smart for no reason. And I mean, it's just, they're advancing like human history, like 200 years in a matter of like 5 pages. And it's just like, that wouldn't happen that way. So there's some things that I'm going to let go of when I'm reading traditional fantasy. But this is like too much, like to the point where it's just like, I can't take this seriously anymore. I'm not concerned about these characters ever being in danger. And then when they do that, if they do die, it's just like, whatever. So I don't know. I'm going to at least finish this one, and then I'm going to take a break. Look, I've book 4 of a 6-book series. You went too far, I think, to stop when you aren't just like despising. Because I'm not despising, guys. This isn't like Lightbringer or Demon Cycle here. I'm not going to like rage quit it. It's just, it isn't giving me what I was hoping for, and I'm starting to wonder if maybe I just wanted MJS to stick to Royce and Hadrian, because this is kind of like, I don't know where I feel about it. So it's not a negative feeling as much as I'm just like, I'm not feeling that great about it. It's not really, I'm not really anxious to keep going. So that's when this week I just had this wild thing where I said, you know what? I feel like a slump might be coming on if I don't change some things up, because I didn't care for Soulsmith. I was meh on Half the World. I'm not really liking Age of Legends. So I'm like, okay, am I in a funk, or is this just like a collection of books in a row that I'm not really liking? So I said, I want to change it up a little bit. I want to kind of stick with fantasy, but I want to change it up just a bit. So, guys, I went ahead and moved this up from next month. Actually, I've had this plan between sometime in July, which was going to be between Codex Alera books. So it was just a spur-of-the-moment thing where I said, okay, I'm going to do something crazy. And the thing that I say is I want to change it up a little bit. Is like, this is listed as a fantasy book, guys, but I'm not really seeing anything fantasy in it. This very much feels like if The Godfather took place in Japan, which is great. It really is. So I'm only about a quarter of the way into it. I'm liking it a lot. I feel like it is just kind of what I needed right now. It's very different than what I was reading with these two series. So yeah, it's giving me something fresh and something new. It very much seems to be a character study on these multiple characters, which I'm liking. You know, I'm a very big character guy. So I didn't think that my viewers would be too upset about me breaking my schedule to pick this up early, because I think people have been begging me to read this series for a long time now. So I don't know how that's going to work with the other two, but as of right now, I just said I needed to do something, or I was going to hit somewhat of a funk, and I think it was perfect timing. Now, as for the thing that just kind of came out of nowhere this week, is over the weekend, my kids were just like being super obnoxious, super loud. And you know, a question I get a lot is, how many hours a day do you read? Guys, it doesn't work like that. It just depends on your kids. When you have kids this age, it just kind of depends on them. They were just being like obnoxiously loud. I couldn't get to a good headspace, and so I didn't want to be reading epic fantasy and be interrupted nonstop. So I said, you know what I'll do? I'll go ahead and pick up some manga, because I don't care if I get interrupted in the middle of a manga or a comic book. So I have been putting off Vinland Saga until I finish that most recent arc of Berserk, which we'll get to here in a minute. I know you guys want to hear about that, but I went ahead and picked this up, guys. I read 4 of these. I read 4 omnibuses of Vinland Saga, guys. This is amazing. This is just what I was looking for. This is, if you guys watch The Last Kingdom, do you know, I think it's season 2, when Uhtred and Finan are on a slave ship. It's like if you took that arc and took the stuff from Last Kingdom of, you know, where it kind of flashes forward from when Uhtred is a kid to when Uhtred is an adult. If it shows you that coming of age part, I feel like that's what you get in this story with Thorfinn. I really am just loving this. This is awesome, guys. And the thing was, I wanted to keep going. But I said, okay, I think I definitely want to review these by arc, because they do have arcs. And this is the prologue arc, or the war arc, I believe it's called. And that is the one that I have finished already in this week, because, guys, you can just fly through these. They are so good. So that is one where the hype was absolutely met. You know, it was really, really high, and it was met. And I am very, very excited to continue with that. But I do want to review that arc before I go on with any more of Vinland Saga. And I know that if I review that arc before I review the Falcon of the Millennium Empire arc from Berserk, I think that I might have a revolution in the comments. So we'll stay tuned for that. But yeah, a very interesting reading week for me that just kind of went nowhere where I was expecting. I was expecting to do the next Joe Abercrombie book and then finish the Age of Legend, and I ended up picking up Jade City and reading 4 omnibuses of Vinland Saga. So I've been talking about how I love reading Freedom this year, and this is very much a case of it. So I wouldn't say that I'm quitting on these series. Like I said, they weren't giving me what I wanted at the moment. So I thought, okay, let me take a breath away from those. So don't get down if you're really wanting to see me finish those, because I will. I just might not be finishing them as fast. I will still be finishing the Shattered Sea this month, but Legends of the First Empire, I think that's going to be a TBD. Let's go ahead and move on, guys, to what am I going to read. Now, I already told you I'm going to finish Half of War. After I finish Jade City, I'll probably try to finish Age of Legend, and then I'll finish this in time, hopefully, for the 19th, which is when we start the next Dark Tower book, which is Song of Susanna, my least favorite Dark Tower book in my memory. So it'll be interesting to see that on a revisit. But yeah, that's really all I got going on with what I want to read this week, except I am kind of in a manga mood now. And so I said, okay, well, I can't read more Vinland Saga. Berserk news, we'll talk about that in a minute. Calm down. Yeah, so what am I going to do? So I decided it's time for me to finally check out Urasara, which is the artist, writer that gets recommended to me the most when it comes to manga, because people talk about how Naoki Urasara is very much like Stephen King. He's very much a big fan of Stephen King, and his style is very much Stephen King. So I said, hey, why don't I go ahead and finally pick up Monster? Well, I did the first volume of Monster. I'm not done with it. I'm actually reading the first volume of Monster. I'm excited about where this should lead. So I think what I'm kind of doing now is, like, when the kids are awake, I'm just going to read manga. And when they're asleep, I'll read what I want to read. Because over the summer, guys, they are just hellions. I don't know about you. They are just hellions here. Let's go ahead and move along, guys, to this week on the channel. Did do a few things. Let me get these out of the way here, because the last thing I want to do is spill coffee all over them. But we did to Why the House of the Dragon Will Be Good. Now, this is because I know that the buzz for House of the Dragon is not that high, and I understand why. And it wasn't really a video for me to say, this is why you need to be watching House of the Dragon. Look, I was the advocate for Game of Thrones when that came out, because I wanted people to watch it. I was so scared it wasn't going to get renewed, and I wanted to see at least the Red Wedding. You know, that was my goal when that started. So I was like just going around and preaching to everybody, giving them the sermon about why they needed to watch that. That's not what this was. This was just more of the thing, like, everybody's just like automatically assumes it's going to suck. because of, what happened with Game of Thrones Season 8. And so I talked about 8 reasons and that why I think it'll actually turn out to be pretty good. Now, will you care? Maybe not. That's fine if you don't care. But this is why I'm excited about it. Because, look, I need some more of that in my life, And you can go into the reasons in that video. I'm not going to kind of relist them all here. But really, in the end, I'm just like, why not? Why is it so hard to imagine that this could be good? You got new showrunners. You got a complete story to go off of here. And Game of Thrones was the best thing on TV maybe ever for a long time. So it's not hard for me to believe that they can capture that magic again. Will they capture the casuals? Maybe. Will they capture the scorned? Probably not. I don't think there's anything that can happen. Just like how I said, I could be talking about A Feast for Crows, the novel, and the comments would turn into how season 8 of the show sucked. That's just kind of how it's going to be from now on. So to me, it's just like, hey, cool. Let's turn the page and let's talk about a new era maybe in this. So I think they need for this show to be really, really good because they do want to make like a universe for this show on TV. So they can't come out and lay an egg with this. They can't come out and do 4 or 5 episodes before it gets good. They got to come out swinging, and I think that they will. So the reactions in the comments for that video are mixed. Some people are like me. They say, hey, why not? I think it could actually be good. And then others are like, I don't care. And look, I totally get if you do not care. I get it. But I do, and I'm excited for it because, guys, I'm not really excited about any of the fantasy shows right now. Maybe I still like Witcher, but, this is on a different level than Witcher. So I would really like for this to be good. And anytime Matt Smith is in something, I'm going to watch it, guys. And then I did my book haul, obviously, for May of 2022. Those are always going to get a lot of fun comments and conversation. I think it got like 10,000 views in a day, so you guys really never get sick of those videos. But it was one of those where when I started, I was like, I didn't really get that big of a haul this month, and I'm not going to have very much to talk about. Then I talk for, 20 minutes, like always. It is what it is, guys. It's just what I'm doing right now. You ramble, but nothing much more I can add to book hauls, guys. I do one every month. You know why I do them, and I understand that you guys like them, and I love that you guys like them, and I think it does create a lot of new conversation for series that I haven't read yet, and that's always a lot of fun. And then I finish it off with my Into the Multiverse for the month, which was Wolves of the Kala Dark Tower number 5. I'd like to get that in before we start the next Dark Tower book. And I know that's one of those things that, unless you are either a Tower junkie or you're on this read along, you're probably not watching that. I think before I did this video, it maybe has 1,000 views today. So that's fine. My Stephen King stuff is always a labor of love, and I don't do that for the views, obviously. I do that because I absolutely love Stephen King, and The Dark Tower is what my number 4 fantasy series of all time. So, of course, I'm going to give it the special treatment. That's what I did there. But Wolves of the Kala, book that I liked. I felt about the same as I did reading it this time as I did reading it when I was 19. Or I'm sorry, 25 on that one. I actually had to wait for that one. That was the one I had to wait 6 years for. So I felt about the same. But yeah, book 6, like I said, that's the one that really had me just crossing my arms going into book 7. I was so upset about it. So I'll be interested to see how I feel about it on this reread, guys. But that's all really that we had on the channel. Let's go and talk about a little bit of next week plans here. I am going to be resuming Saturday Night Nights. Is it going to be Saturday Night Nights 2, guys? We're going to be doing that tomorrow night. Tomorrow night, we're going to be talking with my guests. We're going to have Simon & Schuster Saga Press, his Brian Lee Durfee. Brian Lee Durfee is going to join me on there. Christopher Rocchio of Sun Eater fame is going to join me in there. And, of course, my co-host from As the Wheel Turns, Madison Swanshay. She's going to be joining me for this conversation. I think that should be fun to see where that conversation leads. And if you watched the one that I had just a couple of weeks ago, guys, that's really just, we see where the conversation takes us. And when you've got Durfee on a call, I think that anything could happen. So we'll be doing that live tomorrow night, I think 6 p.m. my time. I'll make sure I get that time verified for you guys before then. And yes, it will be live, so you guys can ask us questions if you want to. I think it should be a blast, and I'm excited that you guys are excited for more of Saturday Night Nights. I think it should be a ton of fun with 3 wonderful, wonderful human beings. I'm going to continue my Tolkien coverage. I'll be talking about Fellowship of the Ring. That is the book for June, before we keep rolling along, leading up to Rings of Power. And like I say, regardless of how you feel about Rings of Power, this is the time to talk some Tolkien on the channel. And it's something that I've put off for a long, long time, and I can always talk about the famous Holy Trilogy, The Lord of the Rings. I'm going to do that there. And guys, I think it is finally your time, strugglers. It is finally going to happen. I am going to review the Falcon of the Millennium Empire arc of Berserk. And I've been putting it off, like I said, because I don't think you guys are going to be happy with what I had to say about it. But you know, I think the people who watch my channel only to watch some manga stuff, maybe you're going to learn that I never bullshit. I am always honest with my reviews, no matter how unpopular it's going to be. So I'm going to be brutally honest with that. I'm sure I'll get a lot of you didn't understand it, and I probably didn't. You know, there are some things I didn't like I'm going to talk about. There's some things I thought were just as great as they always are when Mr. Miura is telling a story. So we will get into it, and that should be a lot of fun. It should be happening later in the week, because that one's going to take the most work. Now, this isn't really for next week plans. I guess I got to bring it up. This is the best place, I think, to bring it up. Berserk is going to continue, guys. You know, when Mr. Miura died in, what was about this time last year, I think, wasn't it? It was right before I think about a year ago I started doing my Berserk coverage. They are going to continue it. His assistants are going to be, I believe they're going to be drawing, and then his best, I believe it's being advertised as his closest friend, Kuji Mori, I believe is how you say his name. He is going to be overseeing it, and this is apparently the person that Mr. Miura has told everything that was supposed to happen and told him how it ends. And he's been very, very up front and forward and saying he is not going to add anything to it. He is going to tell the story exactly the way that Mr. Miura told him that it needed to go. So it sounds like it's being handled with the proper respect here. So that's very, very encouraging, as well as if, you know, how well his assistants can draw. I guess we will find out. But yeah, I mean, it's one of those things, guys, you're for it or you hate it. I mean, it's like when Brandon Sanderson finished Wheel of Time. Some people loved it, and other people just said Brandon Sanderson he shit the bed. I mean, I think that they gave it a great ending, but you know, I didn't live through Robert Jordan dying, and I wasn't done reading the series. You know, I didn't read that until it was over. So kind of the same with this. I'm actually gonna have to wait with you guys now. Now, I haven't started the Fantasia arc. I don't know when or if I'm going to be starting that. What the deal is with that, I don't know. I have no idea. But it is encouraging to know that it is going to keep going, and, you know, God willing, conclude one day, because I know there are some people who've been living with this guy since the 90s, you know. So I'm glad it's continuing for them, and it's really cool that the reception has been rather warm. I mean, people seem to be very excited about it. So you know, it could have went either way. So I'm interested to see how this unfolds as we continue to talk Berserk slowly but surely on the channel here. Let's do a little TV and movie talk before I go, guys. And I guess we got to start by talking about Obi-Wan. I mean, I don't want to harp on it, guys. I mean, I pretty much said last week, there was some things I liked, some things I didn't. I do feel like even the people that were kind of being apologists for the show, even they have turned on it at this point. Even they are like, yeah, this is. I mean, I don't believe it's been confirmed, but there's stories out there that the person that wrote this series never even saw Revenge of the Sith. Yikes. I don't know. It seems like this was not taken seriously. This seems very much like the epitome of a cash grab by Disney, because this is a very important character. And I said, you guys cannot do this to another legacy character like you did Luke Skywalker, and they're doing it. They are absolutely doing it. And I do not understand why in the world this show looks so cheap. How can you make Obi-Wan Kenobi versus Darth freaking Vader seem boring? How do you do that, guys? That makes no sense to me. And why does it look so small? Nothing on the show looks real. Everything looks like it was recorded on a backlot set. This makes Wheel of Time look epic, guys. I don't even understand how they shit the bed so bad. I mean, you're Disney, guys. You got more money than God. Use it. I have no idea why this show looks so poor. I mean, Episode 3, guys, looked like a CW show, and I have no idea how they let that happen. So this feels like a waste of Ewan McGregor's talent. Wake me up when Mandalorian gets here, guys, because that's pretty much it for me with Star Wars at this point. I have no plans to watch Ahsoka or any of that other stuff. I just don't trust them. Yeah, I'll save the rest. Me and Rocky are going to do another season wrap-up show like we did for Book of Boba Fett. It's not going to be pretty, guys. So if you want to hear us rant, that'll be the episode to watch. If you don't need that negativity in your life, I get it. But yeah, we'll be honest with that one. It's not going to be fun. And the show hasn't been fun, guys. It's a real wasted opportunity. It's just very much, it's not like where I was angry with Last Jedi. I'm just disappointed. How could you do this again? How could you let this happen again? And guys, keep saying it. Never going to change while Kathleen Kennedy's in charge. It's just not. I'm sorry. It's just not going to happen. Let's talk about Sandman. Sandman's coming on Netflix. Now, I do love Sandman. That is one of my favorite comics ever, is the Sandman. And I think that Neil Gaiman, what he did in that story is just amazing. You think about when he did this. A lot of the stuff in there. Because I've seen a lot of things like, oh, Sandman's going to be woke. Guys, the comic was woke. I don't know if you read that comic. It was a lot like that. So my biggest thing that I'm not liking is obviously John Constantine is not in it. Now, this wasn't a gender swap like some people are trying to act like. That's not what it was. Apparently, Neil Gaiman actually took to social media and explained there is rights issues with John Constantine, and I knew about this. There are big rights issues with John Constantine. That's why he can't be in this. So I think people are worried because we do know what Netflix has done with adaptations. It's not been pretty. But with this, I'm still encouraged. August 5th is the day. It's the day after my birthday. I'm hoping that this can be good. The trailer looks really good, so I'm excited about it still. But what I say is, these days I went from I've been anticipating some of these things to be adapted to I'm dreading it, and that's kind of where I'm at right now. Low expectations, and you go in with low hopes, and you can be surprised. So I'm hoping for a little bit of that, but it looks great. It looks great, guys, and that's really all I've got to say about it. Didn't watch anything with my kids this week, except we just continued watching Jackass movies. We've watched all those and all the .5 movies now, and he's very, very sad. And I'm very sad, too, because he's starting to try to, hit me in the balls and stuff. So I made this bed. I guess I got to sleep in it. I guess before I go, I'll just talk about the reviews for Jurassic Park Dominion. Woof. Oh, my God. It's got the lowest Rotten Tomatoes score out of the entire series. Look, I don't think there's any way, guys, it can be worse than Jurassic Park 3. I don't see that being a possibility, at all. But, I'm going to be honest with you here, guys. I don't think these movies have been great since number 1. I think they've all been downhill since then. I've said that they very much have turned into the Fast and Furious franchise now. I think you can see that in the trailer for this. I just am kind of sad they brought the legacy characters back, and the movie sounds like it's not that good. I watched Jeremy's review, and he gave it a forget about it 1 hour later grade. And that's just wow, I can't believe that. So, look, I'm always going to be there for dinosaurs and stuff. We did convince the kids not to go see it at the theater because it is almost 3 hours long, guys. And I don't want my kids to sit in a theater that long because they won't sit in a theater that long. So we're going to wait for home video for that one. I still like to see Top Gun, though. But I did buy my Elvis tickets for the 23rd, and we watched it on the 23rd. So excited about that, but bummed out a little bit of what I've heard about Dominion. But I'll still watch it, guys, because it's got dinosaurs. It's just in my DNA. I've got to check it out. But guys, that was my week. A wild and crazy week. How was your week? Why don't you drop in the comments? Let me know what you're reading, what you're watching, what you're listening to, what you're playing. And I will talk to you guys there.